is Friday, April 20th, 2018. I'm Fran Duvall, your host today, though I'd like to say don't recognize me. And I'm here with our lead social worker, Sue Franke. Sue, yeah.
Good morning, Fran.
Lead is right, isn't
yes, it is.
I'm going to put that thing down, and we're going to chat. So, first of all, let me ask you, you became lead social worker like right from the beginning, or?
I've been here over 13 years. Yeah. So I came December, what was it, 2004, I guess we were talking about it. And probably maybe 2 years in, I became the lead social worker.
I thought so. It seemed like, I've been here 15 years, but it seemed like you were always the lead social worker.
But in the social work team, I have been here the longest as well.
Yeah,
so I've
sort of been that rotation you've been covering that.
Right.
Okay, good.
Right.
Now, today, getting near the end of April, what do you have on your agenda today to tell us about?
Well, I'd like to talk a little bit about the support groups that the social work team facilitate. Recently, week and a half, everybody got in their cubby a community resource handbook. And that is one of the most valuable pieces of information that we have here in the community, because it has a listing of all the groups, the clubs, everything from resident run to staff run, everything that goes on here at Green Spring, along with a lot of other really good information about telephone numbers. So I encourage every resident, if you've put it aside, to take it out and start looking through it just to see what we have here. But let me highlight some of the social work support groups that we have here. There are 4 in particular that the social work team, which includes myself, Stephanie Reinheimer, whose office is over in Town Center by the Potomac Cafe, and Elena Keidel, whose office is in Hunter's Crossing beside the classroom. So between the 3 of us, we facilitate 4 different groups. The group that is, I would say, probably the most fun of them is called Mindbenders. And this group plays into the whole Erickson really push to help residents stay active cognitively. So our memory health, keeping our minds as active as possible. So this Mindbenders group, which is on the 2nd Wednesday of every month, from 1 to 2 in the Town Center Cards Room. And there's always flyers on the bulletin boards, at least 1 week ahead, generally 2 weeks ahead, and there's information in the Community Resource Handbook. But this is for residents community-wide that would just like to be with other residents to do some fun mind games. They do puzzles, they do brain twisters, and they just, for an hour, have fun. Just stretching their mind.
And tell me again the time on the 2nd Wednesday.
It's called Mindbenders. It is from 1 to 2. Town Center Cards Room. And I encourage, it's an open group. I encourage.
You don't have to make a reservation.
No reservations, just come. So something to think about if you want to. We all really think about exercising our bodies. We walk, we go to the fitness center, we do the exercise classes, but it's important not only for our memory, but also for our whole physical health, to keep our minds active as well. So it's a good group for that. The next group I'd like to highlight is our low vision group, and that is facilitated by Stephanie Reinheimer. And this is a group that's been going on since the inception of Green Spring, because low vision is really a near and dear thought for anybody that's struggling with declining vision. And even if your eyes are working the way they should normally, as we age, they just let in less light automatically, and so it becomes more difficult to see. But this low vision group has become quite popular and quite large, so they've recently moved venues. It used to be over in Town Center, but it is now the first Monday of every month, and it is in the Akatink room. They just recently moved, and I know it's a move, you know, for those that were in the town center area and it was close by. It's a hike. It's a good long way, but well worth it.
You have to come across the bridge, come down an elevator, and get to another elevator and go down to the. Is it the Akatink room?
It's the Akatink room.
Okay.
Yep.
First Monday.
First Monday from 2 to 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Okay.
And Stephanie has really been trying to get some speakers to come and provide education about different topics on low vision. She had told me yesterday that Kathleen Taylor is going to be coming to the next group just to talk about the emotional piece of losing your vision, and so how emotionally that might affect you and what you can do for yourself to help keep your good thoughts while dealing with this low vision. So the first Monday of every month, 2 to 3 in the Akatink room.
All right.
Another group that we have is the grief group. And this is one of our fairly new groups that social work has been facilitating. Elena Keidel is facilitating that group. And it is going to be the third Wednesday of every month. And again, there will be flyers on the bulletin boards. The information is in the handbook. It is in Town Center in the cards room again from 2 to 3:30. And this group is for any resident that has had loss, whether it be a spouse, a child, a good friend, anybody that's experiencing loss that really would like to just have an opportunity to sit with others and talk just about how things are going. It's a very low key, there's no expectations in that group. It's just with the idea of getting together with others that have experienced loss. And I know this group in particular, Pastoral Ministries has a grief group that they facilitate. This particular group that Elena has, there's no religious component to it, just sort of to delineate it from the Pastoral Ministries. It really is there just to help those be able to sit with others that have experienced loss. So that's another group that we have. And then the fourth group that I'd like to talk about is the caregivers support group. And this really is tailored to caregivers of loved ones with dementia. So if you have a loved one, a spouse, some residents here even have parents that are still living with dementia. I encourage you to come to this group. I facilitate it. It's the third Friday of every month, so actually it's today. It's down here in Village Square in the classroom from 2 to 3. And this group is an opportunity for caregivers to just talk about some of the struggles they're going through, to be able to talk with other caregivers in terms of what they've found to be helpful.
Yeah, maybe getting new solutions. Yeah.
But then also to just sit with other caregivers and say, yeah, it's hard.
Yeah.
And we're not alone. This is something that we all share in different ways. No situation is the same, but there are certain principles of it that are the same.
Sue, in that, to start with that one, the caregivers one, you're not speaking of caregivers that come in from the outside. You're speaking of residents only.
Correct.
Okay.
So what we like to actually call them care partners. So a spouse that has a spouse with dementia.
Okay. Right. It wouldn't be, say, a child of a resident.
And actually, we have had children of residents come to the group. So it really is with the idea of helping those that feel that they are caregivers for someone that has dementia to just come and talk with others about the experience, about what goes.
They need support They really do need. I've seen it so often.
And if they're able to come, if it works in with their schedule, it's during a work day. If it works, we certainly encourage family as well, children as well, if that would work for them. So for 3 weeks out of any month, the opportunities are there, one a week, except in the third week, or this is the second week, that you have Wednesday and Friday. Yes. Well, the third week.
Third week.
Third week, yes. Wednesday and Friday.
You have a Wednesday, a Monday, and a Wednesday and a Friday.
Correct. Yeah, I didn't even think of it that way. So the third week we have the Wednesday grief group in the town center cards room, and then Friday the caregiver support group down here in Village Square.
When I first came here and lost a person that I cared a lot about, there was a grief group started by an outside social worker. It wasn't, it was an outside social worker who came and conducted. There were 11 of us, and we still occasionally, there's only about 4 of us here now, but occasionally we'll have lunch together still, and that's been 11 years or so, or 12 years.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that you still get together.
Yeah, we do.
It's quite a bond.
Yeah.
And I know, I spoke with Elena yesterday as I was anticipating coming on today, and she said that the struggle with a grief group is getting residents to come to the group. So, and maybe to get the information out there that this grief group is available, if you're finding that you would like to talk with other residents that are going through feelings of loss. So I encourage anybody to come.
Yeah, at first I didn't feel like I fit in because it wasn't a spouse. And most of the people in there, it was spouse. So when I voiced that to the social worker in private, I said, I don't think I'll come back because, I don't really fit in here. And she immediately, she was very upset with herself that she had just made the assumption that everybody had a spouse, that they had lost. So all her speech was directed that way. So that's something that helped me to go back because she said, no, that was my error. Let me change my approach, So just for the record, I'd like to encourage. And when we get together now, we don't talk about grief anymore. I mean, we're way beyond that. We're griping about things or whatever.
It's a different kind of support group now.
But anyway, it's, it was like it was ending the number of weeks, and it was like, wait a minute, this can't be over. I mean, there's the rest of our life. And
yes.
So,
and I remember when that group was going on, it was a time-limited group.
It was.
It was what we call a closed group. You had to sign up for it.
Yeah.
And then, and this group that we have now is just a little bit different. It's an open group.
And more casual, perhaps.
It's a little bit more casual.
Yeah, I mean, we had texts and all that business,
Helping get through that grief process. Yeah. This group.
And trying to understand how your feelings fit into the norm or whatever. Sue, this has been very interesting, and I hope people will pick up that handbook again. I was just looking at it the other day because I was checking on who's in charge of that now, and I had to I looked through and found the number I needed.
Yes. I make sure to have one front and center on my desk because it has so much good information in it. So definitely take a look at it and know what groups, and if you're interested in any of the social work groups, we really encourage. And of course we know there's many other support groups here that are run or the impetus is coming from staff, residents. From residents. So it isn't, support groups are not only these 4, there are many others. And we as staff, and that's through the community resources department that we have here, they make it so convenient for residents if they have this desire to start a group, and then to help facilitate and keep it going.
That's right.
So I think that's, and there's information in that handbook about how to do that too. But yes, many resident-run groups. We've talked about low vision. Marie Lee holds a very good support group in terms of hearing loss.
Right.
So just so many really good support groups in that book.
Well, we thank our social workers and you in particular. Thank you for coming today.
You're welcome. Thank you, Fran.
Okay, stick around. We'll be back talking to our sales director, see what's happening in sales here at Green Springs.